Hi everyone, I'm Will, and this is Creating Music. On today's video, I want to talk about my melodic writing style and how some things I do can help you become a more melodic writer in your own music. Let's get started. In today's video, I'll be talking about a song that I wrote called Am I the One? It's in F major, and it's a very simple basic song, but I think when you're talking about melody and trying to be creative, sometimes simple is best, is something that I've found to be true. So I'll talk a little bit about the progressions throughout the song and things I do in my songwriting technique to try to help make things as melodic as possible, but still, not so much melody that it overwhelms the listener. So this song is in F major, and so the first section of it that we have is just a one chord, so F major to the 4 chord, which is that B flat minor. Also can be played right here. And that just bounces between the 1 and the 4 chord throughout the beginning. And in the intro I do an F major chord higher up, right up in here, in this section right here on the guitar. And also add some different kinds of sonic features that I think help set up the song as it comes into the groove after that intro. So it comes right into the 1 chord, the F, so it's and I'm the one who will save away, and you never said everywhere, and I will without despair. I'm the one. So that's the main part through that beginning piece. And what I want to do now, let me just jump into the mix and talk a little bit more about the instruments I used and different ways that I work to find melody. The mix in this song has variants of different kinds of guitars, kind of like a dirty but not super distorted guitar I have in there, and I also have a guitar with more distortion, along with some organ pieces that I do to just bring more melody in, as much as I can throughout the piece, as I'm writing it. Now, down in this section right here, I use this particular keyboard sound and also this moonrise sound, and also this lower bass for the intro to kind of give it a spacey feel, and I feel like it kind of sets up into the groove pretty well. GarageBand has a lot of good qualities, but whenever I need to play a fill for myself to go from one section of a song to another, I kind of always just do that on the live kits, what I'm highlighting right here. Just to make sure it feels more human than just having an actual drum machine do that riff. You can also hear that I play on the cymbal, the hi-hat, and the ride throughout this sun when it rises away, for the last time I say, and we don't know how to live the life that we show no compromise, don't see through others' eyes. And that's that first section there, and I do record vocals twice. Gives it kind of a natural chorus sound, makes it more fuller sounding too. If you notice, I did that with the live kit here that I used to introduce the main groove of the song. Also did that with the drums on GarageBand, just giving it more of a strong feel with the bass and the hi-hat and everything. So it's a trick that I think a lot of people use. And then getting into the section where we just have the vocals, where the vocals come in. I also have this, and I'll talk about this in a minute. The lower chords on one guitar and some higher extension chords, and then I pan one hard right and I pan the other hard left, and it really gives a nice chorusy sound when you have two guitar parts that are different but with the same instrument. Guitar usually, and it does really sound nice. It really fills up the mix pretty well. And as I talked about in that section, so I have the one guitar hard pan left just playing the. And then for the other higher guitar part, I have an F. I use this F up here. And it has this E here, which if you're looking at F, E would be the major 7 in that chord. And I think that just gives it a really, really nice touch and adds melody to, the vocal and other things that are going on in the keyboards and everything. And then from there I come up and I just do a B flat up here. And this is just the 1-3-1, just kind of highlighting higher tones and just bringing a little more in. But I think in any instrumentation when you're writing a song, the chording instruments, there needs to be different inversions and, just different ways of playing similar and same chords to really help add melody, to your piece of music. In this next section, it stays in F major and comes up through. So in my previous video, I talked about the harmonic scale, and that's just really the scale in chords. So, given on that, we know that the 1 chord's major, 2 chords minor, 3 chords minor, 4 chords major. So in this section here, I come right up the major scale, and then when I get to the 4, the B flat, I bump back down to the A. So that sounds like. And then I use octave chords to accent that, and that adds more melody by far. So I'm doing the major 3, the 4, and the 5 in the F major scale, right? So it's. And I like, instead of just. So I like having a different feel, with the right hand. And the bends and everything to give it more melody and, help that piece through the song. And will I find a way? Will I find a way? So that's the vocal part, and in that vocal melody, I go up higher than that first section. I think creating more mood because I'm saying more, a deeper. I'm kind of taking the first section of lyrics and moving into a deeper thought with that second, and you can hear the lyrics, and it just talks about how, as human beings, we seem to have a very good gist at doing things that make our lives more difficult and, make things harder for us. And will we ever see a day where we don't do that? And I kind of think of that as like the human condition, and that's really what it is for human beings, man. We can't seem to just, do things to make it easy on ourselves. We're just, we're almost set up to really not do well. So that was what the lyric was for me. And I think another important part to mention about lyrics is that a lyric should be written for 10 different people to experience and bring from that 10 different meanings. And if you're able to write to where you're writing enough to set a vibe and a mood and explain things, but also leaving it out for enough interpretation that everybody can draw their own conclusions, I think that that's so important in lyric writing. And, and then also the melody has to fall within the scale, but also have enough, tension and release through it that it keeps the listener's attention. And also, that's what gives songs mood and emotion too, is that tension and release. So, that's kind of, with melody, my thought process on lyrics, for sure. So let's go back into the mix and I can talk about that second section. I also wanted to jump in before I go on to that next part and highlight the keyboard and how it brings melody into the first section. So as you can hear, it's holding the chord throughout, but there's also a little movement right here. Just, holding the chords long enough to bass and have a good footing and a good, standing on the chords, but just moving some notes around just enough to also have it coincide with some of the lyrical changes. And I think when you can support a melody throughout a song, meaning you hear it in the vocal, you hear it in a guitar solo or whatever solo, you hear it a little bit in a keyboard section, whatever it is, supporting a melody throughout is something that I think is really important, and I do try to do with most of the songs that I do create. Go ahead and jump into this next section where I do have a guitar solo, that happens with this guitar here. I do have a guitar melody that goes with these two guitars, and that's that octave part that I'm talking about. And also keeping with the similar parts in both of these guitars, keeping one hard pan one side and one to the other side, and also still creating melody with those chords, but having them hard panned against each other with two different parts again really fills the mix up and adds to melody. So let me go ahead and just play this this second section here. And as I said a minute ago, in that vocal, just going up the octave, creating more urgency and feeling that this is something that I really believe in. This is something that I want the listener to really take to their heart, and you do that by just human emotion in a voice, good melody, good supporting melody, and then just a well-written song, and this song isn't a very difficult song. It's a very basic song, but as I said, at the beginning of the video, sometimes, just keeping it simple can say so much. So I'll go ahead and solo the guitar section here and let you hear the guitar solo itself. It's a lot of relative minor, also some F major, and also some F major pentatonic. So let's go ahead and check that out. I just want to make a couple of comments about the solo. I come in on the root, and then I immediately come back down a relative minor run with that flat 5 in there, and you can hear that, very well. I'll go ahead and just solo that real quick. And that's kind of just screaming relative minor, I've seen a lot of guys do this in jazz and in fusion too. And what I do is on the 4th string and the 5th string, I play the root note. I play them in rapid succession, so it's just the same note being hit very quickly. And then I use that to do a little walk up through the first 6 notes of the major scale. So I'll go ahead and solo that and kind of point it out. So the beginning of that riff is actually I'm playing the root note in 2 different places and just kind of bouncing it off each other. And I think it's a really cool way to kind of emphasize a solo or beginning of a riff in a solo. And that's a relative minor riff that I was talking about, just basically hitting the 1 and then coming back down with the 1 being there, or that 1. You know, you have them both here and here, and that's when I talk about kind of playing the 2 together. Having the 2 tonics there and playing them kind of together is kind of a neat thing, I think, and it adds, you know, to the solo as well. So when we talk about melody in songwriting, I think it's important to have the different melodies supported throughout the song. Also, different ways of mixing things, you know, guitars, as I talked about, to keep the mix sounding full and hearing, you know, one set of chords on one side and then the other set on the other side. I think really opens things up. Having a strong vocal melody and then have some of the vocal melody within your solo in the song, you know, I think are all important factors to increasing your melodic potential within your songwriting. Thank you for watching the video today. I appreciate you stopping by and taking time out of your schedule. Please don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell so you know when I have new and creative music coming your way. Thank you.